Hello again, and welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of The Info Dump. I'm your host, Ashley Pugh, and today we're going to be talking about something that is honestly very personal for me, that being chronic pain. It's a silent battle, I think, for many of us. For me personally, I've been dealing with this since about the age of 16. That's when I first started having problems. Now, with me here today is an extraordinary woman and guest whose journey is both inspirational and informative. She's LeeApril Burton-Harris, certified essential oil specialist, a HIPAA-Approved Medical Advocate, and the owner and founder of ComposeWarriors.com. Now, her personal experience is that of a caregiver for someone with chronic pain and illness, and it's really what led her on this mission to actively help pain sufferers and their families after having to watch helplessly for years her loved ones suffer. Now, today we're not only going to talk about the impact of chronic pain, but also the connection that chronic pain and chronic illness or autoimmune diseases also have with neurodivergence. Now, that's something that I don't think too many of us really realize is quite so common. At least I know I didn't. I probably found out about the connection between neurodivergence and chronic pain and autoimmune disease, like probably within the last couple of years or so. Now, don't forget to, I'm going to mention this now, LeeApril has a masterclass coming up on October the 26th. So if you're listening to this and you actually hear it before October 26, 2023, at 3 p.m. Pacific time, she will be hosting a masterclass that's all about relief for chronic pain sufferers and their families. So be sure to check it out. But for right now, come on with me. And as I generally say, relax, go ahead, pause here, go grab you something to drink, get some snacks, and join us as we talk a little more about chronic pain and what can be done for chronic pain sufferers, and not just them, but their caregivers as well. I have with me LeeApril Burton-Harris. She is the founder of ComposeWarriors.com. She's a certified essential oil specialist and an integrative pain coach and specialist. So welcome, LeeApril. Thank you for coming on to the Info Dump.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for having me. This is a real privilege. And I'm looking forward to talking with you more.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this too, because this is a topic that I've been wanting to have a conversation with someone about: chronic pain.
Wow.
And I know you deal a lot with, and we'll get into this later, with sickle cell disease. But here at the Info Dump, a lot of people don't realize that there is a link between neurodivergence, or especially people with ADHD, and chronic pain, and even autoimmune diseases. Mm-hmm. So when I met you and started working with you, I thought, I've got to have her on the show because this is perfect. You help people with chronic pain, and a lot of us have to deal with it. But it's true. Chronic pain is one of the most common co-occurring conditions for neurodivergent people. And a lot of us don't realize. I didn't realize that until within the last couple of years.
Yeah, and that's something new that you brought to my attention, because I had no idea either. But when you think about it, it kind of makes a little bit of sense, because a lot of people who they think outside, they're a bit more creative, I think, and they have certain abilities that someone who may not suffer from chronic pain has. So, I mean, that's just been an observation. It's not anything that I've researched or anything, but now you've given me something to really think about.
It's looking to, yeah, that is true. So go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey and how you became an essential oil specialist and then an advocate for natural pain relief.
Nice. So I am a mother of someone who suffers from chronic pain. He has sickle cell disease. And for a long time, it had went untreated, not well. I don't know what the proper word is, but it wasn't treated well enough for him to be. He developed chronic pain in the process because he would have acute pain crisis, which is like blood disorder where the hemoglobin would clump up and prevent oxygen and blood to go to certain parts of the body. And that will cause problems later on. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times the pain would be, they wouldn't accept it as being pain. They thought maybe he was faking. Mm-hmm. And because of that, it developed into chronic pain. So now he has chronic pain syndrome. I also have a brother who suffered from sickle cell disease, and that was the worst experience ever. He had sickle cell SS. And so in sickle cell, there are different forms of it. So I guess the blood has like a C shape for something that has like squiggly shape. So they can blood tests can determine what kind of disorder you have. It's amazing what the medical industry can do. He had sickle cell SS, and he would cry at the top of his lungs, even as a grown man. Like you wouldn't, see that.
And that probably had to be hard to watch.
It was very hard to see and watch and feel so helpless.
Yes.
So now, as a caregiver for someone with sickle cell, I have decided not to just sit back because that actually put me into a depression. Mm-hmm. And that depression, I ended up going into therapy, talking to a therapist, and they actually suggested essential oils. And so I was like, wow, let me do some research.
Mm-hmm.
Got into the essential oil industry and was going to start trying to sell it to people. But then I realized I wanted to do something more because that was not what I didn't want, that icky feeling of having to like sell it to people without even really knowing, because people take medication. What if it interferes with that? So I'm thinking about all those things.
All the different things. Right.
Yeah. And got involved with a coach, Renee Hughes, awesome coach, awesome. And she taught me so much. And she actually certified me as an essential oil specialist that I am today. And it's just amazing all the wonderful things that essential oils can do for pain, the emotions. And I could go so many different directions.
We can talk about this all day.
So there's a lot in there. And it gets me excited I just get excited because I don't know. It really feels good to be able to talk about something that I know.
Right. And I can tell that you're passionate about it, but I bet it feels good. Like you said, in the beginning, when you felt helpless, watching people that you loved in pain and not being able to do anything about it. And now here you are, you have the education, you've been able to develop the tools and the resources to be able to help not just the people that you love, but now, others.
Exactly. There's a word that actually comes to mind for me. And I know it's used quite a bit, but I actually feel empowered. And that's the word. I mean, it's used a lot. Oh, become empowered, be empowered. But that's exactly how I feel.
That's it, right. That's how you describe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so how can I just sit on this information without sharing it with others now? So, yeah. And which is why I, created my program. But we'll talk more about that
later. Right?
Yeah.
Well, you've touched on this quite a bit, but could you explain any further about what chronic pain or autoimmune diseases are and how they can impact someone's daily life? Like I said, you touched on it briefly with your brother and your son with the sickle cell disease, but really for anyone who's in chronic pain, how does that impact them? And not just them, because here we are talking to you and seeing how it impacts their family members and their caretakers.
Absolutely. What a good question. So when someone suffers from chronic pain or even an autoimmune disease, it affects their life in such a way that they literally have to, they probably feel like the world is moving past them without them. And that could really put them into a deep hole of depression, Some of them may have jobs or may have had jobs and may have had to step back from those jobs. And it makes them feel so, I don't know, I want to say disabled, and I want to say incapacitated, but I don't think that's the right word.
No, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
It pulls them, it makes them feel like they're incapable, like something's wrong with them. And nobody should feel that way. So, and even as a caregiver with somebody who suffers from sickle cell or chronic pain, it makes us feel helpless. And we end up feeling like where our hands are tied behind our back. And, we've done all we can, but yet it doesn't help any. And so it really puts a toll on our emotions, our lives. I've had to quit multiple jobs because of caring for my child, and even people. My son actually had to be homeschooled because of missing lots of school. And I'm grateful for the school system and how they've, incorporated the IEP system, the 504 plan, different things that have allowed him to finish his education in high school, because really he probably wouldn't have finished.
Would have been able to.
So there's a lot of things that interrupt your daily life. You may need help with dressing at times. It can be really embarrassing. There's so much. It's so much. So it puts a toll on your physical well-being as well as your social well-being, your financial well-being, your did I say emotional? So it's all of the above. It really affects people, period, including caregivers. And we feel guilty. We feel guilty because, look, we're able to do certain things that person is not.
They can't do.
And so we're like, well, let me sit back. But then you're like, okay, I can't do this. Oh no, it's so much. There's so much in there. And it just needs to be unpacked. It needs to be unpacked and talked about one by one. And that could go on. That could be a class right there.
Right there in itself. And you did mention the emotional impact that it has a couple of times, but correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes this is a side question. Do you think that the emotional toll that it takes on both the person with chronic pain and the family is really like one of the, I don't want to say the greatest, well, yeah, like the largest impact that chronic pain can make on a person or their family? I mean, that emotional toll that it takes is huge.
It is huge. It is, because your emotions is connected to your ability to thrive and do things. And sometimes if we don't feel, if our mindset isn't right, if we feel like, well, maybe there's a task in front of us and we look at it like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, I can't touch that, then we literally won't.
You won't do it. Right.
So our emotions are definitely attached to our mindset. Our mindset is attached to our physical well-being and what we can and cannot do. So yeah, it's huge.
Absolutely.
That's one of the biggest things.
The biggest things. Yeah, I would agree. And, with that in mind, what are some natural pain relief options that can be particularly helpful for people that deal with chronic pain and, dare I say, invisible illness? Because that's another thing, too. Yes. When it comes to chronic pain, people will look at you maybe on a good day, or it could be a day when you are in pain, but they look at you and they don't see it. They don't see the pain that the person is feeling or that the stress that the family is under. So what are some natural pain relief options for that might be helpful for people who experience that?
There's so many. Diet is definitely one. Many people, that's such a huge topic as well. There's so many different things. Like literally what you're doing is unpacking this, and I appreciate that, because it needs to be talked about, especially with invisible illness and autoimmune disease, chronic illness. These are both under that umbrella. Somebody can look at you one day and you look like you're totally fine.
You're fine.
You may look like something, but you may be feeling something totally different on the inside.
Right.
And I think that's what happens a lot in the hospitals when somebody presents with a chronic pain illness. They're diagnosed based on what they look like versus what they may be going through, their body chemistries or whatever, and they're mistreated. So there are options. There's holistic options. Essential oils have been a huge part of my family's journey, and they have made a tremendous impact. Even using vitamins, because even if you were somebody that was vegetarian, vegan, that ate all their fruits and vegetables, there's still a depletion in the soil of the food that you're not getting your full nutrition. Exactly. So we need those vitamins and nutrients. Our brains need them, our bodies need them, and it kind of completes the package. So we have the essential oils, our diet, supplementation, breathing. We forget to breathe.
Yes.
So we have these small, we have these lungs, and we forget how effective they can really be for us. So if we take a minute, even if it's just 5 minutes, and take a deep breath in through our nose and release out through our mouth, maybe 5 deep breaths, maybe 3, depending on if you get dizzy, don't get dizzy. But that will make a huge difference because our body needs that oxygen. And then there's also emotional freedom technique, the tapping, that is an energy type of work. And our body is electrical. We have electrical impulses that run through our body. And so when we tap on sometimes the energy gets stagnant, it gets stuck in certain places. And so tapping actually helps to release that energy flow or release that blockage, those blockages, to allow us to feel our vitality back. So those are some of the things that I teach about. And yeah, they're really effective.
Okay. Well, you know what? You kind of went into one of the other questions I was going to ask. I was going to ask you to discuss how either essential oils or any of the, excuse me, other alternative therapies have shown promise when it comes to managing chronic pain. I know EFTs, the tapping that you referred to, that was something new for me. I probably learned about it. It's been within the last maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe a little longer, 6 years or so. So tapping or essential oils, is there anything else, or did you want to expound on one of those?
I can expound on the essential oil part.
Okay, go ahead.
Which is really fun. So so I'm answering, because I could go on a tangent about essential oil. So let me get specific about this question.
Okay. That just means you love what you do.
I really do. I really do. Because I'm such a nerd when it comes to, even I didn't realize this about myself until I started getting into essential oils. I love chemistry, and something's wrong. I may not understand it completely, but I really love learning about what they do for the body.
Yeah.
I'm so fascinated with it. And then the way things work. So yeah, I'm such a nerd, but I love it.
Look, I'm right there with you.
So your question for me about that is just to expound on them and how they can benefit.
Right. How some of those therapies have shown quite a bit of promise in helping people to be able to manage their pain. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. There's lots of studies that have been done. Wow. I can actually remember one study that I read about. I don't know why I went to studies, but I read about the study where these people had to get a hip replacement. And there was a group of people who didn't have essential oils, and there was a group of people who did. And the essential oils they used were lavender and peppermint, I believe, together. Okay. They were blended. And what ended up happening is the people who ended up, who were given the essential oil blend, lavender and peppermint, they ended up healing faster. They were in less pain, and they needed 50% less of the narcotic medication that was needed in order to help those people.
50? Yeah, 50% less.
Yeah, and that was a study.
That's a huge difference.
It's a huge difference.
That's a huge difference.
So this is why, and I even read something where people with sickle cell, they were given like a cotton ball with essential oils. The young people, young children actually, they were given a cotton ball of lavender and put next to their pillow.
Right.
during the time of their stay, and they will be replaced or whatever. And they needed less narcotic medicine because that is the way that the pain is treated. When you're in that type of pain, they say they have this pain scale from 0 to 10, but yet the scale of 10 is the pain that they feel is far above 10.
Is above that. It's way above that.
It's way above that. And so oh, wow. Okay.
Go ahead. Look, go on.
Okay. So I even go into, talking about the pain, I even go into helping the person express that pain. Like, does it have a color? Does it have a sound? Does it have a smell? Does it have a shape? What is it shaped like? How big is it like? And help them to kind of really imagine what this is like inside of their body. What does it feel like? Help them express it. And I think the pain management industry needs to get into that type of understanding of pain versus just the pain scale of 0 to 10.
They do. Actually, I'm so glad you brought that up, because a lot of times when it comes to, so this is perfect, like neurodivergent people in the community, the way we might feel pain or describe it many times is different than what the doctors are accustomed to, or the like you said, the scales that they give us. Like, that is one frustrating thing.
Yes.
If I'm going to be honest, when it comes to dealing with pain within at least this community, but I'm hearing even, from you. So I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Yes.
Yeah. You said, being able, like, what is the shape? What is the color of it? And I know someone else, or even, if you're a doctor might like, what are you talking about? But for some people, that's how they're able to describe what it is that they're going through.
Yeah. And that needs to be brought into, so this is something that I really want to integrate, not only just here as a practice, but into the hospitals. It needs to be brought. It needs to be brought. And a lot of people don't think that way, but they need to. They need to meet the needs of the people dealing with this so that they can feel heard, feel supported, and heal, instead of worrying about, man, I got to fight this doctor and express to them what I'm feeling so that they can get it. No, nobody should have to feel that way. It's just not okay. Right. It's not okay. So I'm trying to create things and bring things that are going to be beneficial for those people. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Yep. And we know that goes into my next question. It was going to be about creating a supportive environment. And we were just talking about needing that support within the medical community, within the hospitals and the doctor's offices. But how important do you think it is for individuals that deal with chronic pain to have the support and understanding from within the community, but also their family? And I know you know firsthand about this, especially when it comes to the family.
Absolutely. This is so essential because when you think about the human family, they are the groundwork of a person. And if they don't know what to do, I even interviewed a woman who mentioned that her parents did not understand what she was dealing with, and so they mistreated her. So parents need the education, and there is education out there. There's lots of support, but they still may not understand what to do with their feelings involved.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes. So
there's so much. It's such a complex, chronic pain is so complex that it needs so much attention. And if it's not addressed, it's going to tear people apart.
And it does. It has. It does, and it has. I'm expounding on again. I like how you brought that point up. Because the caregivers and the parents themselves, it can cause so many different feelings and emotions that if they don't learn how to deal with their own, it can cause even more problems, complex problems within the family and for the sufferer, for the person that they're taking care of.
Yeah.
But that is definitely true.
There's a problem in relationships. Then there's a problem with communication, and
it cycles back. It cycles back around.
So we're trying to break that cycle. Let's break that cycle.
Break the cycle. Yeah. But that's it. You nailed it.
Absolutely.
So in your opinion, what strategies can families or loved ones of those that suffer with chronic pain implement or employ to create that supportive environment to help to break the cycle?
Well, they can get connected with certain groups. So if they're not familiar with what they're dealing with, they can they can get connected with whatever it is that they deal with. That's chronic pain. It could be sickle cell. It could be arthritis. It could be whatever is their current diagnosis. They can connect with certain support groups in the community. And then I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I even have a program that even that allows these groups to be able to feel supported and heard. And it's called Composed Warriors. And what we do is we allow us, I say us because I'm in this group too.
You're in the group too.
So
yeah.
we speak about our experiences. We speak about ways that we can manage the emotions and the pain in holistic ways. This is, I mean, yes, you may already take medication, but we're bringing in natural things that we can do on a daily basis in order to manage the life that we live, so we can be much happier and even do more as a person. Set plans. If you have plans and you don't, if you have plans and you don't want to cancel them, then you don't have to, unless you just really have to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we have power that we're not even taught in this. That's been the most frustrating part for me as a caregiver. I just felt like there was so much more that could have been done that wasn't being done, and my needs weren't being met, and I didn't know how to express myself in a way to tell them what I needed, because I didn't even know what I needed.
You didn't even know.
But it's the talking. Talking is huge.
Right.
And using our words in order to express what we need, and using these essential oils, the chemistry inside of them, our bodies know exactly what to do with them. They come from the earth.
They know what to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, and we need a group where we're not pushing stuff on people, but we're allowed to be ourselves in that space.
Right.
And I think that is so important. And then we can even take information and educate our doctors with it if they're open. And if your doctors aren't open, then we might want to find another doctor. Because
that's important. You have to advocate for yourself, even if it means finding someone who is going to work with you in the way that you need.
Exactly. Because we know our bodies best.
Yes.
We are the experts of our body. And so that's also advocating for ourselves. Oh my goodness. See, you get me going. You get me going, because I actually took a class last summer, and it was taught by a doctor who has sickle cell disease.
Okay.
And she is a specialist in sickle cell. So she was teaching us all the ins and outs, the way to get through the emergency, ways to manage the floor, things that you can do. And they also help advocate. They speak to the doctor too. So if you are somebody that suffers, they can advocate for you if you don't have that support group, or they can teach you or your family how to advocate
what to do.
Yourself. So it's a very powerful tool. It's called Sickle Cell Medical Advocacy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll give you that information if you want to share it, because I don't know who all is going to see access to this.
Yep. I will make sure that those links get posted. If you send me the information, we can post it.
Absolutely.
And hopefully it'll help somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody who needs it.
Someone's going to catch wind. And
someone.
Maybe it'll inspire them to start their own.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
So now let's move on to talk
about.
Oh, go ahead.
Inspiration. Go ahead. No, I'm good.
No. Go ahead.
It's okay. I was just saying. I'm all about inspiring. I want to inspire people. I want to help them. I want to support them. And if they see a need that needs to be filled, then I want them to be able to do it. So if they're inspired by anything that we're saying here, then I hope that they do it. They do it. So Yeah. That was what I was going to say.
Well, good. Look, beautiful. I think there was a delay.
Oh.
There was a delay. No, but no, that was beautiful.
Mhm.
So going on talking about more challenges that comes with dealing with chronic illness, specifically the stigma behind it. Are there any specific challenges or stigmas that who deal with chronic pain face, and how can they address these challenges or these obstacles?
Mhm. So in sickle cell disease, there is the stigma that the people are drug seekers, or they're looking for attention. They are faking. Some doctors, some doctors would look at my son and say, "Oh, you look great," but we're sitting there in pain.
There's the invisible illness factor again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that stigma, and even friends, not even some of our friends, they may wonder, is he really in that much pain? Like, that doesn't make any sense. He was fine yesterday, but things change.
Things can change in a moment.
Yeah.
You can be fine 1 minute and the next minute you're not.
And you're not.
Exactly.
And not only do they change based on nothing, sometimes there's absolutely nothing that causes it. The mindset can change, and we're all, witnesses of that. Our mind can change in the drop of a dime. Like, man, we could feel like the most confident person in the world. And the next minute we hear something and it triggers a feeling inside of us. And it's like, okay, I'm worthless.
Yeah.
So that's what sickle cell is like. That's what living with chronic illness. That's what living with chronic pain. That's what living with autoimmune disease is like. It changes like nothing. So there are advocacy. Well, I just lost train of thought.
No, go ahead.
Train of thought, because you had mentioned about about the stigmas.
The stigmas.
So those are some of the stigmas that we experience. And I just want to keep this 100. For me and my family, we're Jehovah's Witnesses. We don't accept blood, but in the community of sickle cell, that's a huge issue.
Huge issue. Right.
Give them blood. Well, what do you do when somebody doesn't accept blood? Do you get mad at them? So there's a lot of cultural differences that doctors, even people who aren't Jehovah's Witnesses, they're not interested in getting blood. They don't want it because there's so much involved with that. But there's it's a huge topic, and they're on this thing right now where they're encouraging people to donate blood, but that's not always the best thing. So, it's
not as simple as others might think.
Exactly.
It's not as simple and as straightforward.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's a topic. It's a topic, and I think that there needs to be a lot more training on it.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and if anyone is willing to receive training, I am available.
And we will make sure that they know how to contact you.
Okay. Yes, because there's ways. I mean, it's not just about the blood. It's more about the person, the well-being
person.
And there's things, for someone who does not accept blood, there's things that we can do around that. So, we've experienced that firsthand.
Right.
So I just think that's, I don't know, it's really amazing what the human body can do.
It is. It really is. Well, you know what? I'm going to let you talk even more about it, because I was going to say, could you share more information about how you support families who are affected by sickle cell disease? And you've been giving us tidbits this whole interview, naming advocacy groups, talking about different things that you're able to do, ways that you've been able to feel supported, ways you've been able to support your son. But is there anything else you'd like to share about support for people that deal with sickle cell disease and their families? Yeah.
So, I mean, I know I've talked a lot about sickle cell disease because that is the life that we have lived. But I created this program, Composed Warriors, for all people dealing with chronic illness, chronic pain. And it needs to be, this needed to be created because sometimes people are feeling hopeless, even when they have they may be a part of support groups out there, but you have to be really involved in some of them. And sometimes they get to a place to where you still don't really get it. So I feel like the group that I have will be really supportive for people dealing with chronic pain, chronic illness, because we're going to talk about coping strategies. We're going to talk about the use of essential oils and how that can help us. We already talked earlier in this conversation about the mood and the mindset. Well, those oils can support that mood and the mindset and help us, reduce the anxiety, build ourselves up. Even the emotional freedom technique will be utilized in that group, and we will learn how to manage ourselves without the use of medication, because medication is something that has side effects because of the synthetic nature, and the body does not know what to do with it. And sometimes we develop even more illness based on that synthetic. So these are, I have a masterclass coming up that's going to talk about these things here on October 26th.
Okay.
At 3 p.m. PDT. What is the D for again? Because I think
daylight savings.
Daylight, yes.
So it's going to be changing to standard.
Okay.
Because as of right now, we're still going back and forth. Maybe one day we won't have to do that. But yeah.
That just tickled me something. I was so surprised to know that there was a difference there, because I've seen it, but I'm like, what does that mean? Okay, yeah. So here in PDT, before Pacific Standard Time, before it changes, and it'll be at 3:00 that time. And if anyone is interested in joining this masterclass, then they can. Maybe we can put a link on here. It'll be on the video, or you can go to my website, composedwarriors.com, and there will be a little pop-up that comes up and tells you about the masterclass. And you can even reach out to me through my Instagram Messenger, and I can send you the link that way. So there's multiple ways.
Multiple different ways. And I'll make sure that we have the links, and everybody will have what they need to be able to get in contact with you.
Yes.
And like you said, the masterclass, October the 26th, 3 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes. Yep.
So can you give us like a little sneak peek, or let those who attend, let us know what to expect with that upcoming masterclass?
I sure can. So basically we will talk about relief. Ways of relief, and I've kind of talked about it woven in.
Yes.
This.
Yeah.
And it's hard to give a little tidbit without giving a lot.
The whole thing. Okay.
So the name of it is Relief for Chronic Pain Sufferers and Their Families Masterclass. And as we have talked about, those who suffer from chronic pain are dealing with a great deal of not only physical trauma, but emotional trauma, but so are the caregivers and the family members. I share a little bit about myself, and then I go into talking about you. And it will be an interactive masterclass. So I want to hear from the audience. I want to hear from you. And I'm just super, what I forgot to tell them is that I have a podcast. And Chronicles of the Chronic Pain Warriors, it's a place where they can tell their story, because many times they don't get to do that. So I forgot to express that. Please reach out to me again. Like, there's so many resources that you guys can benefit. I talk about chronic illness and what it is. I talk about the complexities of it. I talk about the way it affects you. And I talk about oh my gosh, I talk about the solutions for it. So if they want to learn more about the solutions, then they will join the masterclass.
Yeah. Awesome.
because it's going to be really good. I'm
It is.
super proud of this.
I still like how, excuse me, how you're including not just those who suffer, but recognizing that the family, the caregivers and the family members really need this too.
I think this is bigger than me. Like, this is so bigger than me and my household that eventually I feel like this is going to come to a point where I'm going to need lots of help, and I'm going to need to train people about it.
Right.
So,
no, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Having programs in like I said, in the hospitals.
Yes.
Training doctors. There are so many different things that you touched on that you said throughout this interview that I feel like would be helpful to so many people.
Yeah.
If they had the proper support.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
No, thank you
for saying that. I have worked on this for a number of years.
For a long time.
Finally, for it to come to this place is just, I look back and I'm like, how did I even get here? This is amazing. So I look forward to benefiting and helping others and in their life, and to help them to feel empowered the way that I do.
To feel empowered and to know that there is more out there. There's something else out there. Right. Because like you said, for a lot of people, they get to a point where they just feel helpless and hopeless.
Yeah.
And give up, not knowing that these types of resources or this type of help is out there.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm tickled.
Look, listen, this is for you. So to express yourself, however, but for those out there dealing with chronic pain, whether it's sickle cell disease, whether it's for me, rheumatoid arthritis, for whether it's other, autoimmune diseases or chronic illnesses. There are people out there I have friends who have fibromyalgia, who deal with, chronic pain all over a lot of the times. And like everybody else in the chronic pain world, they look good. They look like they're okay. No one would ever know that they're the type of pain that they're dealing with. So what advice can you give to those of us out there who are dealing with chronic pain or autoimmune diseases and might be feeling overwhelmed or might be feeling isolated or unheard? Because I think you touched on that too earlier. So many times. And unfortunately, it's true here in 2023. So many people just feel like their voice is not heard, cannot be heard, or will not be heard. What advice can you give to those people?
Wow. Okay. So there's a number of things that pop up into my head immediately. If a person does not feel heard or feel supported, this program is here. You guys can always reach out to Composed Warriors Instagram, but I would always suggest journal. Write those thoughts down. Get them out. Do not let them
get
sit
them out,
because that is what causes a lot of more. It causes more, and it's like I said, it's amazing how the human body works, because we hold on to stuff without even knowing we hold on to stuff.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yes.
But it's true.
Such a way, but we need to purge it. We need to get it out. And there are support groups. There are spaces where you can talk in. You do not give up. Do not give up. That needs to be a part of your mantra. Do not give up. I will 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 keep going. I will keep going. I will keep going, no matter how you feel that day. Because there's always going to be an answer to that problem you're dealing with. There's always going to, and if there's not one, it can always be created.
Right.
So
I think you're a great example of that.
Please
look at Composed Warrior. Yeah, look at Composed Warriors and the work that you're doing.
Yeah, this is something that I don't see anywhere.
Right.
It's very unique in its own. Yes, it takes from certain things. There's the support groups, but the support group out here is very interesting because I want to provide some value to the people that I'm in the support group with, but I feel like I'm stunted and I'm not able to give them that. And so, you know what? I'm going to make my own, and this is what I'm going to do. And if I can't give, give, and I just want to give, although sometimes giving costs money, but it's still, it feels so good when you see people benefiting from something that you put together and shared with them. So there's even the podcast, reach out, let's talk.
I was going to say, you mentioned your podcast where you give
how you can share your
people
story.
a voice. Yeah. Allow them to share. And sometimes that can, things like that can make a huge difference. Just being able to express yourself and share your story. Helping you to feel heard. Yes.
And when I've spoken to multiple people and I'm trying to get them on the podcast, but our schedules just are not clicking. But they keep telling me how grateful they are that this is finally here. They said, thank you. I'm like, but I haven't, she said, it doesn't matter. We needed this. And I'm like, really? Like, you really did? Yes, I did. And she's not the only one. There's multiple people, even people who have been interviewed are saying, thank you so much for this. It felt so good just to give a part of my story. Wow.
To be able to share their story and what they're going through.
It's very healing. It's very rewarding, I think. And I love it. So it feels good. It feels really good. And I guess I'm a little selfish because I'm like, I feel like I'm benefiting a little bit more than they are. But I know that this is needed. And I have yet to get some caregivers on here because caregivers also, they hold so much in.
They do.
They hold so much in. They don't let stuff out. And if they do let it out, it's the people that probably don't really get it. So, yeah.
So more to come from Composed Warriors?
More to come. There's so much more to come. We're growing. We're expanding. We're thriving.
Well, you know what? All that means is you're going to have to come back on the show. You have to come back on here.
Okay.
We'll pick another topic. You can come back on and talk about that.
Yeah. We can unpack some things. We sure can. We can unpack some things because I had to keep myself from talking a little bit on some things because I want folks to really experience it for themselves. I really do. This is just an interview between you and I, but whoever catches this, I hope they really, even if they're late, just reach out later on.
Just reach out.
Reach out. That's it right there. Reach out.
Right. So if you're watching this before October 26, 2023, do not forget the Pain Relief Masterclass. I think it's pain relief for, what's the name of it? People with chronic illness and their families, or pain relief for chronic illness sufferers and their families.
Yes.
Okay. And that's going to be at 3 p.m. Pacific time.
3
October the 26th. But like you said, even if you don't come across this podcast episode until later on, it's not going to be too late to reach out to LeeApril. Reach out to her. You can go to her website at composedwarriors.com. And then I will also have links to her social media where you can message her too.
Yes.
So
Please.
Thank you so much for coming on here and talking about this, because it is definitely something that is needed to be talked about. Thank you for helping the chronic illness and chronic pain community. This isn't a permanent solution, but something has to be done now to support those who need it now. This makes a huge difference.
That's the point. That's the point. And to help them to help themselves. So thank you so much for inviting me. I enjoyed this. I was a little nervous, but you really made me feel comfortable. So
good.
Thank you so much for this. And man, I just appreciate it. And what it does is help me to see, just like any normal other human, I wonder, is this really going to work? I see that it is. It is. This is huge. And I hear myself explaining what's going on and what's going to happen, what's happening with these people. And this program, and I'm like, wow, this is really good.
It is.
I'm super excited about this relaunch. So
yeah, you're going to have to come back on here. Like I said, you're going to have to come back on here and we'll
share some experiences.
I would love that. I would love that. Or even if you came back on here with someone from your podcast to be able to share their experience too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely.
That would be awesome.
That sounds good.
That sounds good. Look, we're over here making plans on the show already. I love it.
Yes, that sounds
but thank you again, LeeApril Burton-Harris from ComposedWarriors.com. Appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
And like I said, don't forget about her podcast. The podcast too, but the masterclass, October 26, 2023, 3 p.m. Pacific time. All right, everyone. Well, that's going to be it for today. But once again, I would like to say thank you to our guest, LeeApril Burton-Harris of ComposedWarriors.com. And let me remind you all, she is having a free masterclass, Relief for Chronic Pain Sufferers and Their Families. And that will be Thursday, October the 26th, 2023 at 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. Now, what if you just stumble upon this episode and it is well past October the 26th of 23? No need to worry. Head on over to ComposedWarriors.com and you will find a link there where you can connect with LeeApril. And of course, she's on various social media platforms like YouTube and Instagram, so feel free to message her there as well, and she'll get back in touch with you. Until then, stay well, everybody, and I will see you here yet again for another episode of The Info Dump, where we will continue to explore the spectrum of neurodiversity in business.